So Patrick Bet-David just went on the Jubilee show and debated against 20 anti-capitalists. It was very interesting to watch. Did Patrick Bet-David, did he hold his own against these people that are defending mostly communist positions? Not all of them were, but some of them were. And is there any middle ground that we can find between these two? Do you have to be one or the other, either full-blown capitalist or full-blown communist? The woman that's on your screen, she's been on a few Jubilee videos that I've seen. She's actually really good at defending her position. I could see her becoming a big name in the future years. So one thing I would say, just to start off with, about her is I hope she stays reasonable or even gets a little bit more reasonable, because she is very good at articulating her positions. But some things I think she can go off the deep end if she's not careful. I just wanted to say that at the front, because I think she could be very good at what she does going forward, but stay reasonable. All right, let's take a look at this. This was in the middle of a heated exchange with her that Patrick Bet-David had, and he's defending that capitalist position. But did she bring some actually good ideas to the point? And was he maybe deflecting a little bit and not wanting to answer any of her questions?
That things
How
like
old
food
were
and
you the
shelter
first time you thought you wanted to be a communist? How old were you the first time?
Is that a response
I'm
to
actually
any
really
of the
curious.
statistics?
No, because the statistics are against you.
The statistics-
It's never worked. There's so many Cubans that moved to Miami. They love their
statistic that
country. They hate the
5%
politics. In Russia, they
Do you
even
know how
run
much-
away from
do you know how much
communism
money-
because it didn't work. It killed so
Because
many
that
people.
almost like it wasn't communist.
It's almost
was there a state?
amateurish
Yes,
to
there
debate
was. Was
a
there class?
communistic
Yes, there
argument.
was. It's almost like you're not replying to any of the statistics that I've presented to you. I think that's the biggest problem.
You're a dictator telling me what
Dictators
dreams
would not
should
be allowed under communism.
Dictators end up, of course, running communism.
But they weren't.
If somebody's
All right, just right there, like dictators would not be allowed in communism. Like, what? That doesn't make too much sense at all, right there. So some of the things all right, where I'm coming from is, I think there's always a pendulum swing that a reaction. Wherever there's a reaction, there's going to be a major hyper reaction, an overreaction on the other side. And I think people get so stuck in their ways that you have to be either I'm tethered and tied to communism or I'm tied to capitalism. Whereas, is there a little bit of a gray area? Is there a little a middle ground that people can meet? Because I think both of them have valid points. Communism, I think, in a utopia, in an idyllic world, that if we had, like, because I mean, if we just take this back to the Bible, and it seems like even the first early church, that they had a tendency towards, let's all get it together and put all our money in. Everybody, there's not really relinquishing of property, and I get that. But it all starts with, if you have goodwill. If there's goodwill within human beings, it could maybe carry out and actually work in this world. But we live in a fallen world. We live in a very terrible, like, gruesome world at times, that people don't have good hearts. We don't have good hearts. So I think there are things that we can pull from the communist side as well as the capitalist side. And I want to continue on what they're saying, but just to point that out, that her saying there's not going to be any dictators, that doesn't really make any sense, because any communist regime, if you go full-blown communist, that's what happens. That's what happens. And he does get into where he's trying to question her, is China a communist place? And he's not answering her questions. She's not answering his questions. And so there's like, we're not going to, like, discover oil or like make any awesome discoveries from this, but like, it does point out the glaring things that are obviously wrong with both positions when things are being called out this quick. But I want to continue what they're saying.
He's taxing 100%. What is a dictatorship?
So again, how much money do you think?
100% in taxes. What is communism?
How much money
That's
do you
dictatorship.
think? How much money do you think would it take to, I don't know, allow everyone food, shelter, water, and education in this country?
How much money would it take?
Yeah.
But going back to your question here,
he's not going to answer that. He ain't going to answer that. And she's not answering his questions because, like, I know they only got like 20 seconds or 30 seconds they're out there, so they're both trying to, like, hammer home at the most important things. Her more so because she's on the hot seat. He's not really on the hot seat because she's the one that's going to be voted out, but she's going to be voted out by people that like the communist position. But this, I really wanted to dive into this because I know people think, because I agree with capitalism. My come to Jesus moment with capitalism, when it sounds silly, but it was when I was looking at different pairs of socks, and it made me think that if people make socks, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to want to make a better pair of socks, and then it's a game to see who can make the best of something and have that incentive. Because I think as human beings, we are naturally, if we aren't prodded, sometimes we will become lazy. And if everything belongs to everybody, we're not going to treat it like it's special. So there are arguments definitely for capitalism, and I would lean definitely towards more capitalism. But if we put regulations in place, ideas of communism, and people not being... I think that the universal basic income should be fully on the table and not this pie in the sky thing that people just talk about. But it actually should. Politicians ain't going to get anything done. It seems like unless you get someone crazy in there that cares about these things. Donald Trump, he's in there, but he's fiercely capitalistic. And the people that are fiercely capitalistic are the people that have it all together. And they got it. They got their billions of dollars. They got their millions of dollars. They got their businesses, and they're running. They understand what is going to incentivize people and how to make they know how to grease the wheel so that their businesses keep going and thriving. But if we look at it just from a different perspective, the people are at the bottom. So it's this argument from the bottom to the top, and it's like, can we find out some common ground between these? Why do we have to have one or the other? You're either capitalist or you're communist. Why can't we pull from both? Good ideas from both, and not just say because communism has wrecked civilizations. It is terrible in a lot of ways. Communism, I think of Tony Montana. Tony Montana wanted to escape communism. He wanted to come from Cuba to Miami, to the United States with that Jimmy Carter, But at the end of the day, there's good ideas in both. But the human heart will wreck things and and just torch things on the capitalist side as well as on the communist side. If you give absolute power to someone, to a person, a regular person, they're going to corrupt it, because we are all depraved and sinful. We will fall to the lowest common denominator given the opportunity, because we are selfish by nature. But there should be things of the ideas of communism. That's why I want to almost bring to the table, let's pull those things, because she brings a lot of good ideas and good arguments is what she says. But and Patrick, he has his talking points, and he stays on them. He doesn't really answer any of her questions. Some of the things are out there are outlandish that we should be able to quickly see. But I just want to bring up this is because we always have where it's on one society they want something, it happens, it fails, and then we just go so far on the opposite way, and then it's just unrecognizable, and then we just swing back and forth and back and forth, and that's all we're doing all day long, as opposed to let's be reasonable. And I think Patrick, he's definitely reasonable, and I think she is as well. They're coming from two different perspectives. I'd actually like to see them actually have a conversation and not just want to win an argument. If it's all about winning an argument and making somebody look stupid, I know it's funny and all, but I mean, there are things that we could pull from both people's ideas and get to some real common sense solutions to the issues that we are having in the United States. Because we are the best country on the planet, I would say. But there is going to be this massive crash if we're not careful, because if we just take capitalism to its the far ends of where it leads to, it's going to crash and crumble, because the people at the bottom, the boomers, have ruined it in a lot of ways. Not like them as individual people, But that generation has ruined it for Gen Z and the generations that are following, because people can't afford things. They're having to buy now or buy now, pay later for everything. And so it's, people can't afford a house. People can't just afford general things that they need, that there's going to be a massive reaction. So the capitalist diehards that are out there, you better put your head on and actually, let's figure some things out. People don't, these exorbitant amounts of money that, Elon Musk, the huge billionaires out there, I think that's great. Go ahead and have that, But just saying that, well, let's tax them. I think policies need to be put in place that just give universal basic income to everybody, citizens of the United States. We don't need to be taken from the rich, but actually let's just give to the people that don't have as much and raise them up. We don't need to pull people up from the top down. Our direction shouldn't be pulling people down, but our direction should be always pulling people up. And if that should be, give people a universal basic income that they can live, and then they have that foundation, and then they can go out there and be gangbusters, creative, and build things. That's where we should go as a society. Come together from both ends. Otherwise, we are going to crumble. Because if you go in one or two directions, it's going to fail eventually. All right. Either way, follow me on X and Instagram at Brandon Fogel. Have a good day.
I could see the cracks form in the paint, growing like a fire. What do I say? Can you see them? Can you see them?